Hello students. So last time we had started with the chapter biological classification, and in that we had completed with the kingdom systems of classification and kingdom Monera. Today we are going to start with kingdom Protista, right? If you remember who had made this kingdom, it was Ernst Haeckel proposed this kingdom. He was also the one to coin the term Protista. If you remember how this kingdom was made from the two kingdom classification, Plantae and Animalia, he had picked up all the unicellular eukaryotes from kingdom Plantae and kingdom Animalia, right? So this is a kingdom of unicellular eukaryotes. Who had he picked up from kingdom Plantae? He had picked up diatoms, dinoflagellates, then euglenoids, slime molds were picked up from Plantae, and protozoans were taken from Animalia, and thus this kingdom was formed. Ernst Haeckel had made a little blunder over here during the formation of kingdom Protista, and that is he had picked up Chlorella and Chlamydomonas as well from algae of kingdom Plantae. Okay, he had removed Chlorella and Chlamydomonas as well, and he had placed it under kingdom Protista. Originally included Chlorella and Chlamydomonas. So Chlorella and Chlamydomonas, which are actually plants, they are actual plants, unicellular plants. They remained in kingdom Protista for a very long time, not really belonging over there. At the time of 5 kingdom classification as well, Whittaker failed to remove them and place them under kingdom Plantae. So Chlorella and Chlamydomonas at the time of 3 kingdom classification and 5 kingdom classification as well, they remained in kingdom Protista. Remained in Protista until 5 kingdom classification. Where are they now? Now shifted to Plantae, algae, green algae. So in NCERT, for now you will be studying them in kingdom Plantae, in green algae, right? So this is a kingdom of unicellular eukaryotes. So some guys were picked up from Plantae, some guys were picked up from kingdom Animalia. Some of them are plant-like, the ones that were taken from Plantae, and some of them are animal-like, the ones that were taken from Animalia. Some of them are also fungi-like, slime molds, because fungi were originally placed under kingdom Plantae, right? So it includes plant-like, animal-like and fungi-like unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Therefore, we say that the boundaries of this kingdom are not well defined. We say this is an important sentence from NCERT. Boundaries of this kingdom are not well defined because it has tiny plants, tiny animals, tiny fungi. So you cannot say that the organisms have this particular characteristics, because they don't, because they have a different range of characteristics, and the boundaries between this kingdom and the other eukaryotic kingdoms, fungi, animalia and plantae, are very blurred, because these 3 eukaryotic kingdoms share their characteristics with organisms belonging to this kingdom. So the boundaries are very blurred, not very clear. Boundaries of this kingdom are not well defined. Okay, next. So they possess eukaryotic cell. And we'll show all the eukaryotic cell features. What are the features of a eukaryotic cell which makes them different from the prokaryotic cells of Monera? Organisms of kingdom Monera are also unicellular. Organisms of kingdom Protista are also unicellular. But how are they different from Monera? The cell of Monera is a prokaryotic cell, and the cell of Protista is a eukaryotic cell. It will have all the eukaryotic cell features. What are the eukaryotic cell features? Have a nuclear membrane bound nucleus. This is point number 1. Very important point for the eukaryotic cell. They have a well defined nucleus. Next, they have all the membrane bound organelles. Like, what are the membrane bound organelles that the eukaryotic cell has? Membrane bound organelles like mitochondria, ER, Golgi, etc. are present. They have 80 S-type ribosomes. Prokaryotic cells have 70 S-type ribosomes. 80 S-type ribosomes. Right? So these were the features of the eukaryotic cell that they possessed. Next point. If cell wall present, which will be in the plant-like forms, cell wall will be present. If cell wall was present, it would be made up of cellulose. Okay? Not peptidoglycan as in the prokaryotic cell. Next, habitat. Where do they live? Where do the protists live? Aquatic, primarily, both freshwater and marine forms, and some forms are terrestrial. Okay. Next, reproduction. Both asexual as well as sexual reproduction methods found. Not sexual recombination as in kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera had asexual and sexual recombination methods, and these have asexual as well as sexual reproduction methods using gametes plus gametic fusion. So you know kingdom Protista has evolved from kingdom Monera in the evolutionary line. If this is the line of evolution, in this line of evolution we can say that kingdom Protista has evolved from kingdom Monera. They were also unicellular. These are also unicellular. This is a kingdom of unicellular prokaryotes. This is a kingdom of unicellular eukaryotes, but they have single-celled organisms which are of plant-like nature, animal-like nature and fungi-like nature. So can we say that kingdom fungi may have evolved from the unicellular fungi-like organisms? Kingdom Plantae may have evolved from the unicellular eukaryotic organisms, right? And that is exactly what it is. Kingdom fungi, kingdom animalia and kingdom Plantae have evolved from the organisms belonging to kingdom Protista. Okay, it is not like kingdom Monera has given rise to kingdom Protista, then kingdom Protista has evolved into kingdom fungi, then kingdom fungi has evolved into kingdom Plantae in the evolutionary lineage. It doesn't work like that. This is how it is. This is the central dogma of the evolution of the 5 kingdoms, right? Next. So we have to say that it forms a link between Monera and 3 other eukaryotic kingdoms. Cool? Types of protists. So overall, from this diagram itself, we can infer that there will be 3 types of protists over here. Plant-like protists, animal-like protists, and fungi-like protists. Plant-like protists include diatoms, dinoflagellates, euglenoids. Animal-like protists include protozoans. Fungi-like protists include slimers. And these 5 types of organisms are in fact the 5 divisions under kingdom Protista. Okay, and here on we are going to study each of these 5 divisions under kingdom Protista. Let us start with the first one, Chrysophytes, under which we will be studying diatoms. So under kingdom Protista we are doing the Chrysophytes now. Chryso means golden, phytes means plants, golden plants. These are unicellular eukaryotic golden plant-like organisms. Unicellular eukaryotic golden plant-like organisms. How come? How come they are golden in color? So they being plant-like have a cellulosic cell wall, isn't it? That cellulosic cell wall that they have is embedded with silica, which is golden in color, giving them a nice beautiful golden sheen. Cellulose cell wall is embedded with silica which is golden in color. And because of this impregnation of silica into their cell walls, the cell wall becomes indestructible. Cell wall becomes indestructible. We will be studying diatoms in some more detail. That time I will tell you more about this cell wall. Habitat. Chrysophytes are mainly aquatic, and in aquatic they live in both type of habitats, freshwater as well as marine. They do not have a flagella. Why I am telling? Because Dinoflagellates, euglenoids have a flagella. These do not have a flagella. As such, they float passively in water. Very important sentence from NCERT. Float passively in water. They do not have a flagella except in reproductive stage. What does this mean? It means that their gametes may have a flagella, but the adult stage does not have a flagella. As such, they float passively in water. They are photosynthetic. They are photosynthetic in nature. Plant-like protists, if you remember. And the plant-like characters that they are showing is presence of a cell wall of cellulose. Apart from that, they are photosynthetic and may have pigments like chlorophyll A, very important pigment, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, and xanthophylls. Two types of chrysophytes are present, diatoms and desmids, out of which we will be discussing about diatoms in some detail here on. We will not be studying desmids. Cool. Have a look at these two pictures. These are diatoms and these are desmids. So we are doing diatoms now. If you have seen diatoms, how beautiful they look, isn't it? They are also called as jewels of the ocean. Jewels of the ocean. Di means two. Atoms means units. 2 units. What is so 2 unity about them? So, their cell wall, the cell wall that encloses their cell is basically made up of 2 halves. Okay? One bigger half and one smaller half. The bigger half will nicely cap the smaller half in this manner to give it a soap box like appearance. They look like soap boxes. One smaller half and one bigger half on top of the other. Cell wall will be cellulosic, but it will be made of 2 parts which fit together like soap box. This is how the appearance will be from the side. Okay, one bigger half and one smaller half. This cellulosic cell wall that they have is embedded with silica, and because of this silica that they have embedded in their walls, they appear golden in color, and also the silica makes their cell wall indestructible. Even after cell death, the cell wall remains indestructible. Even after their death, the cell organic content of the cell will all decompose, but what will not decompose is the cell wall. The cell wall will sink to the ocean floor, and this kind of sinking to the ocean floor will result in continuous accumulation over millions and millions of years. The accumulation of dead cell walls of diatoms on the ocean floor has resulted into the formation of this thing called as diatomaceous earth. Diatomaceous earth formed due to accumulation of dead walls of diatoms on ocean floor over millions of years. The characteristic feature of this diatomaceous earth is that it is gritty in nature, and this earth is excavated. Okay, yes, it is very much excavated, and it is gritty in nature, and it has many functions. It is used for various purposes such as polishing because of its gritty nature, filtration because of the porosity, filtration of oils, syrups. Clear? Very important point, diatomaceous earth. They are known as the chief producers of ocean. Reproduction, asexual reproduction, mainly by binary fission. Their binary fission method is very interesting. What happens is, I will show you. Suppose this is one diatom. If it is undergoing binary fission, see what is happening. This is the new wall that they have formed, and eventually these will separate as. Then in another round of binary fission, this wall will form another smaller one inside, this one will form another smaller inside, this one will form smaller inside, and eventually, as you may have assumed, the cell size will become smaller and smaller in size until it will become so small that it cannot help it anymore but to undergo sexual reproduction. At this point they will undergo sexual reproduction. Clear? But their main method is binary fission. They are called indicators of water pollution. They will not grow in polluted water bodies. Do not grow in polluted water bodies. That's why they are indicators of pollution. Clear? That will be it from diatoms, chrysophytes. So quick recap of the diatoms. Diatoms have two units, two cellulosic cell wall plates, one fitting on top of the other, giving them a soap box like configuration. The cellulosic cell wall is embedded with silica, which makes the cell very indestructible in nature, and these silica embedded cell walls do not decompose. They will sink to the ocean floors and accumulate there for millions of years, resulting in the formation of diatomaceous earth, which is excavated, and it has various purposes like filtration of oils, syrups and polishing. That's important. Clear? Chief producers of the ocean, a lot of primary productivity comes from them. Since they are also called as plant-like protists, they are also called as phytoplanktons. All the plant-like protists are called phytoplanktons. Can you make a note of that in the first note? So these will be phytoplanktons. Phyto means plant. So we now move on to the second division, that is dinoflagellates. Next we are doing dinoflagellates. Dino means two. Flagellates means flagellated. They are unicellular eukaryotes with two flagella. Okay, this is how they look like. So this is what they look like. Okay, a single cell. This single cell will have an outer wall of cellulose, present, and this one single cell will have two grooves, one around the cell and one below like this. Horizontal groove is called transverse groove, and this groove is called longitudinal groove. The transverse groove will have one flagella and the longitudinal groove will have the second flagella. Dinoflagellates. The flagella passing through the transverse groove is called transverse flagellum, and the one passing through the longitudinal groove is called longitudinal flagellum. Both flagella are unequal. Unequal meaning they may be differing in length or structure. They are unequal, and as such they are called heterocont. If they were equal, it would have been isocont, as in Chlamydomonas. But here both are different. That's why they are heterocont. If you look at the positioning of these two flagella, both the flagella are at right angles to each other, and as such they will produce kind of whirling kind of movements using both these flagella. Okay, both located at right angles, and they create movements which are like spiral movements. That's why they are also called whirling whips, because of the spiral kind of movement that they create using these two flagella, which are located at right angles to each other. Okay, next let's talk about their wall. Cell wall is cellulosic, and it may also be impregnated with silica. It is also embedded with silica, just like chrysophytes, but they do not appear golden in color because of the presence of different types of photosynthetic pigments in them. Photosynthetic pigments include pigments like chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, and xanthophylls of different types, which give them different colors like red, blue, green, brown, even yellow. Dinoflagellates. Okay, there is one dinoflagellate by the name Goniolax. It is a red dinoflagellate. It is known to cause a phenomenon called as red tides. This, if you can see in this picture, this is red tide. There is one species of Goniolax called as Goniolax catenella, also red in color. This is known to produce a toxin in the water. Okay, it is marine, It is known to produce a toxin in the water in which it lives. This toxin is known as toxin. Now what happens because of this toxin? If these dinoflagellates are fed upon by shellfish or mollusks, these dinoflagellates will enter into their body. But the thing is, the toxin that is produced by these dinoflagellates will not affect the mollusks or the invertebrates which feed them. As such, these seafood will remain alive. Now, when humans feed on these kind of infested shellfish, they may consume this toxin, and in humans it may cause a diseased condition called as paralytic shellfish poisoning. Causes paralytic shellfish poisoning due to consumption of infested shellfish. Due to consumption of infested causes paralytic shellfish poisoning in humans and animals, higher animals, okay, like dogs and all, due to consumption of infested shellfish. So this was about dinoflagellates, yet another unicellular eukaryotic organism which is two-flagellated, dinoflagellated, different colors like yellow, brown, red, blue, green because of the different types of pigments that are present inside them. Cellulosic cell wall and photosynthetic pigments that gives them plant-like features. Eukaryotic cell with all the eukaryotic cell features, just like the Chrysophyte. Okay, so that was about dinoflagellates, the second division of kingdom Protista.
महादेव के नाम पे सब्सक्राइब कर दें।